Guys, TRScientist here, and today I am back for episode number 4 of r/BlackHoleRevenge. And today I have 3 stories lined up. Let's just get into them. We're gonna start off here. I'm going to hell for this, and I do not care. Back when I was growing up, I always seemed to float between 2 worlds. In school, I'd be considered a quiet nerd that was left alone. At home, hung out with a pretty rough crowd and was always getting into trouble. Between the drinking, fighting, the drugs, and other dumb short, I always tried to keep those 2 worlds separate. I got bused to a different school due to being special ed, so keeping the 2 separate was pretty easy for the most part. There were times some bleed over. At times I was in woodshop class, and the style at the time was to have the Velcro straps hanging off the back of my high tops, and another student grabbed them, causing me to fall. He ended up in the hospital for catching a claw hammer in the face. Between having to deal with the psychological counselling and the trial, I decided to avoid this kind of petty crap in the future. I sent the message and it was heard loud and clear. I pretty much had the reputation of don't fork with him. When he snaps, he is dangerous. As I cleaned up my drinking and drug use, I figured I would leave the violence as well. Not that I was good at inflicting it on people, but quite the opposite. I was too good at it. And having fed the darkness within, the high was better than any drug. Fast forward some years, and I am attending a local community college. While I am no longer running with the same violent crowd, I still see them every now and then. I am taking some classes with my friend's little sister, and having seen her go from a brave little girl to a woman kind of made it like she was another younger sister to me. She had started dating a guy who I knew from reputation to be a piece of short from high school. This guy was a year younger than me, and the rumors floating around was the school did nothing about how he would grope females in the hallway because he was the star WR for the football team. He lost his scholarship to the state college due to his grades, but the rumor was he had a few rap allegations that were swept under the rug. I informed her of what I know about the guy, but she doesn't listen to me. After class, I approached the piece of short to inform him that his girlfriend is someone I think of as a little sister, and to tread lightly. She attended a school function with piece of short, and then she was missing from all her classes for the next week, so I dropped off the notes at her parents' house. I found that piece of short had roofied her drink, and taken advantage of her at the function, and left her there under the bleachers for people to be found. To make matters even worse, he gave her a few STDs. God damn it. The revenge on my part was I knew where he parked for classes every day. So I skipped class and waited for him to return to his car to beat him down. Due to him driving an SUV, I knew he kept a broom in there for cleaning off his car for snow. I had taken a pair of brass knuckles and went to town on him. I grabbed the broom and carried him to the woods to stick that broom where the sun doesn't shine. I let him bent over a picnic table with a broom sticking out his ass like I just played it up like. I stroll into the local pharmacy to pick up some hydrogen peroxide to clean off the blood, and I go visit her older brother at the prison to give him a heads up. I tell him what happened, what I did, and to keep an eye out for him on the inside. I must have a guardian angel, as the list of people who wanted him dead for doing similar things was quite long. I got questioned about him, but I gave them nothing and pointed them towards the people I suspected might have been victims of him in the past. The BlackHoleRevenge. I made a few inquiries into where this piece of short was going to be sent to once he got out of the hospital. Turns out he was going into one of the camps at the same prison the older brother was at. Even though it was a different unit, it was still close enough in the sphere of influence that he could be gotten to. I was given a few names to make contact with and drop off some cash for the commissionary to grease a few wheels to get at POS. I figured that he would be shanked and it would have been done with him. Turns out POS was gang raped by 10 guys, one of which infected him with HIV. They slit his rectum to make it wetter and to increase the possibility of infection. Oh! This is not what I meant for the groin area! Come on! After doing all the messaging, I was approached by someone who played a cell phone video of the whole thing before I went into class. Turns out he died of sepsis a few weeks later. The orderly was pocketing the antibiotics and pain pills. He was double dipping as he was paid to do this, and he sold off those pills as well. The only witness to my part of the revenge was now dead, and all that was left was trying to rebuild little sis. I know I am going to hell for this, but I do not care. Maybe the nightmares I had for years after this will be penance enough, but who knows? Hey, damn. At least it wasn't the epic, flagpole, like, broom ass meeting that happened back in Nuclear Revenge, where this dude had 14 brooms shoved up there. I mean, how do you even shove a broom up an ass? I know it's just like, yeah, shove it in there, but how do you get any depth on that? And with that, I've asked too many questions. I'm going to move on to the next story. Guys bully me for years. I get some slight revenge. This is the one time I felt proud of myself in my life. Let me set the stage. The revenge happened about 5 years ago. I came from a well-off family. We weren't rich, but we weren't poor. Well, when I was 8, my dad died in a car accident from a truck driver who ran a red light. My mum ended up having to work as a part-time escort for a little extra cash to keep me and my sister alive. Me and my little sister ended up moving schools because she got expelled for attacking a kid. She had autism and sometimes she gets mad to the point of violence. At the new school, I immediately started getting bullied for being a trap. I was tormented by this one group of kids constantly for 7 years. They mocked my sister for being autistic and say that I'm probably gonna follow my mom's footsteps for sucking dick for money. Every day it was non-stop torment. In my senior year of high school, I had enough. I enacted my revenge during the last month of school. The months prior to this, I had been studying up on their schedules. Where they go after school, when they leave, when they arrive, where they live, etc, 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 etc. It was very stalkery, but I don't know, fam. Then, after countless stalking and planning, I was ready. First off, some minuscule things. I poked simple holes all around their water bottles, so when they opened it, it leaked everywhere. I unscrewed their desk legs to make their desk break, even from slight pressure. I did everything I could to agitate them. Then I went on to bigger things. I'd spray coyote urine on their stuff and then fill them with animal short. I wrecked their stuff beyond comprehension. They did worse to me throughout my life and they deserved it. Now here's where it gets really illegal. It gets illegal. That's all I can say for that. They all play baseball together, so I decided to hit them there. They went to baseball practice, and I followed behind them. They left the locker room, and I went in there and did some practice of my own. I brought a machete and went to town. Oh, jeez. The bags were ripped to shreds. 3 of the 7 had wood baseball bats, so I destroyed those. I also set up a trap for them, when they opened their bags, a M80 would ignite. I put a metric ton of river clay in their car transmissions and set up beds of nails in front of their tires. I wanted them to suffer. Now, here's where it's really illegal. I went to the main bully's house. He is an asshole. He purposely dislocated my shoulder for no reason once. He's the one that said the thing about me following my mum's footsteps. He's pissed on me. He's assaulted me. He broke me. And I was gonna get my revenge. I waited for him to leave home and broke in. I climbed into his window and started having some fun. I disassembled his bed and computer. I moved a bunch of stuff in their house around. I turned on all of the lights, all the burners, the showers, sinks, everything. I busted massive holes in their walls. I made a Craigslist ad advertising free anal for a petite gay guy and put his address and phone number. I opened a bunch of gay porn and viruses onto his computer, changed all their passwords and even their internet password. To top it all off, I followed the lesson from my idol, the PB. I went up to his room, took some laxatives, and coded his room in short and piss. Oh, PB. Piss boy? I wiped myself up, crawled back out, and left. I left no trace of it being me in there, but I'm guessing he knew. I overheard that the utility bill was extremely high and that he couldn't sleep in his room. He started failing at a high rate. Turns out he figured out it was me, attacked me, and got expelled. I don't know if I was in the right to do all of what I did, but I was proud of what I did and still am. TRDR, I got bullied for 7 years, did some illegal things in the form of revenge. Thank you for reading, by the way. I know this was very long. I just want to know, did you aim for the roof when you pooped? Just like put your butt in the air and just went, just absolutely rocket launched the poo to the roof. Because if you did, I would be happy. I would be happy you did that. Because it is hard to do that sort of thing. Let's move on to the last story. Cheated my daughter? How about I make you fail the most important exam of your life? 5 years ago, my daughter, Allison, started dating her now ex, Chris. They seemed happy together, and I started to like him. However, they slowly started to drift apart, and he started acting distant to her. Allison would sometimes come to me crying that they barely spoke anymore. Eventually, Allison discovered that Chris was cheating on her. My first boyfriend cheated on me, so I know how horrible it feels to be cheated on. She called me crying because after she confronted him, he yelled at her and called her a bitch. Chris came over to my house and tried to spin a line of bullshit about how Allison was crazy and was cheating on him, but she already called me and showed me screenshots of his conversations with other girls. This is where I got an idea to give him what he deserves. He decided to waste years of my daughter's life and make her cry, so I decided to do the same to him. I pretended I was on his side and reassured that Allison was being unreasonable. After he left, I told Allison my plan, and she was all in. Chris went to a really good college on a $40,000 scholarship. He was all set to graduate college with a great degree, no debt, and a very high-paying job. In order to renew this scholarship, he had to pass this exam to renew his scholarship. One thing I know about Chris was that he loved food. He was 6'2", and I've seen him eat enormous amounts of food. And I was a good cook, and he loved my food, especially my brownies. So the day before the exam, I baked him brownies. Unfortunately for him, they were laced with a box of laxatives. I've also put laxatives in his coffee. Next morning, he drinks his coffee and eats half of the brownies I made. They say he ingested about 20 doses. As if that wasn't enough, he took several more brownies to eat on the way to the exam. He ended up failing the exam and couldn't afford to go to college. Apparently he got super ill and had to go to the bathroom several times during the exam. I decided to gift him the rest of the brownies as a present in order to make him feel better. He probably had diarrhea throughout the rest of the week. Failing this exam completely changed the trajectory of his life. He was going to get a degree at a prestigious university, but he has a low-paying job working minimum wage. Whoo! Again, laxatives. Like, I cannot believe. Like, I keep running into stories that have connected threads. This time around, it's literally laxatives and short. Oh my gosh. That is just wild to think about. Anyways, I'm going to be ending this episode here. Links will be in the description to my main channel and also that second channel for you guys to go check out. Along with links on the screen to the playlist in the last episode. Go check them out. On the mad side, don't forget to subscribe and hit the notification bell so you know when the Mad Scientist when the next video comes out. A ding on the Mad Scientist. Mad Scientist out.